a lot of stuff. Yeah, we should update all of this stuff. It's pointing to old resource now. So I removed Opera, by the way. I removed Opera from BBP.
We're live now. Let me just post on Discord and we can get started.
Oh yeah. Actually,
it looks like we are.
It is.
Yeah.
It is live.
Cool. Let me send it. All right. Nice. Hey everyone, welcome to another demo for Plasmo. This week we got a bunch of different changes in stuff that kind of is in Plasmo Framework. There is some Plasmo Framework changes, but we're going to talk about some other cool stuff like BBP and all the other fun stuff that we have going on at Plasmo. Before we kind of get into BBP stuff, you want to just like quickly explain what BBP is to those who might not know?
Yeah, so BBP is a browser platform publisher. It's one of our GitHub action used to basically, if you want to automatically releasing your extension right to all the stores, so on and so forth, then you can run a bash script, or you can also use a GitHub action. So this GitHub action integrated into your project is actually integrated into the platform framework for those who have went to the submission step, and then the platform framework integrated with BBP to offering like automated submission for your extension. So framework will build your extension into a zip file, and this action would push your extension to all the stores. But right now, so I say all the store, but only store that has API, that's a good API for CI/CD deployment. And those stores are like right now. So previously we had Opera, but Opera API for they don't have an API for uploading extension. And previously we were using Puppeteer to like open a headless browser to do like actually form submission and so on. The problem is the cookie that they provide valid only for 24 hours. So it's not really worth it to like, yeah, it's not. So basically Opera right now, the API, the submission kind of flow doesn't really make sense for CI/CD deployment. It's much faster to just go to the website, logging in, because you still have login, right? You log in and you just uploading it onto your store. Much faster that way than comparing to like, well, there's a command line to extract the cookie, right? But then you have to copy and paste the cookie into the configuration and then run the action. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as an action. Yeah.
It's just like substituting one annoying flow for another, right? It's not.
Yeah, for another annoying flow. Yeah. So I just rather remove it. So that's what I did just now. So now the new BBP version, which is a release version 2.6.0, actually did a lot of refactoring on it actually. So BBP is a GitHub action, right? And for a GitHub action, it's like a PM, it's like npm script actually. You have to bundle everything into a single JavaScript file, and GitHub has a runner that run the JavaScript file, and it has to be bundled everything, no dependency at all. Everything has to be bundled into the JS file. So the code base for this is pretty interesting. Because actually we have the deployment flow inside BBP that we're actually compiling. This is actually a monorepo project that has BBP and all other modules for Chrome, Edge, Mozilla, and soon Safari. We have a Safari web store. We haven't tested yet. We haven't actually integrating it into BBP yet. Maybe soon when we have time, or someone wants to take charge of it, we're welcome to do so. But at the moment, we're officially supporting Chrome, Edge, and Mozilla web store. We write we actually write the API kind of client for each of these stores to abstract away like the whole publishing process for them, and then we integrate them into BBP basically. Yeah. And then we have like, so if you look at the, for example, like the tag, right, and go to like 2.6.0, you'll see that inside just action, index, and the scheme, you would use a scheme to actually, the scheme can be used to compose your key, which is, the key is for deployment. It's the deployment key. It should be stored as a secret on GitHub. And then we'll take the key and we'll deploy to all the stores. Yeah.
Right. So this is like you go to the Microsoft Edge dashboard or like Google Chrome like the Google Chrome app dashboard or whatever, get the API keys or whatever keys they provide, and then plop it into the secrets for GitHub, and that's what the keys here are. So that way, like when BBP talks to the Microsoft Edge add-on store or one of the other stores, that store knows who you are and what your extension is, and that you're authorized to actually make updates or push changes. So that's kind of the idea, right?
Yeah, for the Chrome store, they also don't have like an official like API actually. They have an API,
Right.
but no, sorry. They have an API. Chrome has an API. They don't have an official access token. So you have to create like an app to actually interfacing with the whole API store API. Yeah, but
Yeah,
we
and
have
I
we
believe,
have all the guy on that.
yeah, I was just about to say, we have a guide on. Well, I actually don't think we have a guide on like all of them, just the Edge one, right?
We have guy on Google Chrome, yeah. So this package was forked from another package. I think it's Chrome WebEx something. Chrome WebSocket upload. We forked it and we made it a bit more easier to use for integrating with GitHub Action. One of the main reason why the other one doesn't work is GitHub Action right now only run CJS. It requires to bundle everything. And the previous package was ESM, and so ESM, the core reason for ESM is so you can bundling, you can require script, right? You can require different scripts. So it's not meant. So in terms of bundling, some bundlers are not playing well with it. So I just basically, well, nowadays we're using ESBuild now, and ESBuild doing very well with like bundling. So the only difference between our guy is that we actually made a tool to actually do to get the refresh token for your API. So you run this tool, it actually will fetch your key, all your key for you inside the key JSON to plop into your submission flow.
Nice.
So a lot of the manual stuff that you have to do manually, usually you have to do manually. We actually make tool to alleviate some of them. Yeah. So a lot of the fun stuff. So now with the transitioning to monorepo, maintaining is much easier now because I can maintain everything at once and updating it, dependency, everything, so on. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that is BBP. Any other thought?
Yeah, that makes sense. So basically, we just made it like more streamlined for us internally. If you want to make changes, you should know that now it's a monorepo. Yeah, and then if you want to kind of get started, you can look at our guides within each respective tool within the monorepo, like the Chrome Web Store and so on. And then for Microsoft Edge, I believe we have a blog post about that specifically for Microsoft Edge, just because we posted that right after they released the API publicly, which is awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much it on that front. Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to the Plasma framework. I'm a little curious about how Plasma doing on NPM. We're actually still doing well, actually. 2000. It's frustrating, but I think between 1500 and 2000, right?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, not too shabby. We also, okay, let's go through let's go through everything. So we got 0.54.0 up, and then like 3 patches. I mean 3 patch version. Point 1 there wasn't much in point 1. Is mainly a dependency bump and so on. So I omitted it. But let's go through all of them. So what changes in the minor bump? In the minor bump, we have there's a source map flag. So yeah, in production, right? Some people want to add source map for better debugging, like or you want to send like source code to Sentry and so on. Which I'm just saying, Kaido. You should definitely separate it though. You should definitely, if you enable source map, I recommend move the source map into Sentry separately, and then zip up your code separately, So when you submit your code to the store, it doesn't actually have like the unbundled source code or the source map there. So
Got it.
okay, I guess unless if source map does not include the full source, but just a link to the source, then that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's like if people want to do that, why not, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not a default, so
Yeah. Basically, if you specify the source map, it will be generated for you for the production bundle. We added the node env to public env. So basically now in the actually should I make it bigger? Yeah, we added the node env to the public the Plasma env, the runtime env of your extension. So now you can do process of env dot node env to know which environment you're on. So for example, we have an example for that in with examples / with env. Hey, let's see if we can actually search that. Plasma.
keyword difficulty is probably really high.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well, we have just this.
I think the first link.
Okay.
And then,
It doesn't point to the specific environment. But anyway, it doesn't point to the specific one.
I have to click 3 more times.
I know, right? All right. But anyway, so now you can do this.
Google.
You can do like process env.node.env equal to development, then you can run dev specific stuff and production specific stuff. The cool thing is that this code actually get trimmed for each environment.
Right.
This is actually a feature in PowerShell, but it only works if you're using an if and else statement. By the way, I don't think it worked with ternary. I don't think it worked with ternary, but it would work with like an if statement. On production, this entire if statement will be pruned from the code base entirely.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty nice. It's a nice feature that I think basically Plasma is PowerShell underneath, so we inherit any kind of cool feature they have.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next feature: add package name to the Jared project. Oh yeah, this one. This is that was an issue when we creating the with package name. When you do like pm create with something, it did not actually respect the name you give it. You gave the project. So now it should work. I think we demoed it last week, actually. Did we?
Yeah, I think we demoed both of these things last week. But it's good to go through the release though, because the release happened this week.
Yep. Yeah, we didn't release until like Wednesday. We added the inline amount with observer. Oh yeah, so this is in the beta. Yeah, we demoed most of this in the beta last week. Yeah,
maybe it's good to just do like a 1 to 2 sentence, like what is this thing, just for people that might have missed it.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily maybe have to demo the whole thing. If you guys want, you guys can check out last week to see like full-fledged demos of this stuff.
Yeah. So so we have the new CSUI inline mounting with observer. And the idea is that previously, the way that we mounting CSUI onto the web page is overlaying, so you can only have overlaying element. But now we also provide a new kind of inline anchor kind of feature that allow a CSUI to be injected inside the DOM element, inside the main DOM tree of the web page, in between element. Yeah. This one is CSS module. So there was a request for example, for an example for the CSS module.
And so just to pause there, like I think for anyone viewing that like has an example, this is a really good like example of a request for example, just because like like if you want an example of using some sort of technology and you don't know how to do it, ask us, because a lot of times what will end up happening, as happened here, right, is that we ended up like modifying our framework to support this like properly, right, Louis?
Yeah.
Like and that's like the cool thing about examples, is that it exposes limitations of the framework and makes it like even better. So whatever example you want to have, like maybe you're working with some new like latest fancy like CSS and JS or some new fancy like library, and you're not sure and you can't for like the life of you get it to work with Plasmo, send us a request for example, and we'll actually create the example. And we do that literally like out of our time. The reason why is because it helps us improve the framework. So always looking for new examples.
Yep, precisely. It's basically when I was working on this example, I made the example first and trying to add in the inline CSS stuff, right? And one of the problem I was suffering was it actually did not work with CSUI initially in the previous version because there's basically the way that we parsing CSS module. We actually parsing, so Parcel have a custom transformer for CSS module that turns CSS module into two assets. One is a JSON for the JavaScript to come. So for JavaScript, they care about only the class name, right? So they take the class name from a JSON like runtime script. So basically, Parcel would compile CSS module and split into two bundles. One is this JSON blob. The JSON blob including class name. So key and class name for the client source code, right? For the user to use to like putting like, so for example inside the let's look at the example, right? To demonstrate what that meant. Let me go to the examples with CSS module. All right, so let's take a look at the content TSX here. So when I importing style from style module CSS, right? And now I can do style dot header, right? So basically the style is actually a JSON object that containing the key, which are the class inside of CSS, and the value is the transform actual class name that has a hash in it. The hash is included to prevent CSS duplication or CSS overwriting. So that's kind of the idea. So internally Parcel, so the previous kind of Parcel transformer transform this module asset into the JSON and a CSS file that they automatically inject into HTML, into the HTML page, right? But when we work with content script, for example, there's no HTML page, right? There's no like, and we want to mounting it into our shadow DOM. We don't want to like mounting it randomly, right? So that was so the way that Parcel was doing it initially will not work at all, and it will not even style module. So CSS module would not even work with CS UI. So the way we fix this, basically we implement a custom Parcel transformer that actually inline the CSS. And what it does is very simple. It stops Parcel from, it basically say, okay, output the JSON, and then, oh no, actually, it basically saying that, hey, if we are using the data text protocol with CSS module, right? Then transform it with PostCSS, inline it with our custom transformer, inlining. So this inline transformer simply take the PostCSS code and transforming it into plain string. That's pretty much it, plain CSS, and then it passed down to the inline string, and that is pretty much it. That's pretty much like the whole thing. And so now in our content script for the CSS module, we could use the exact same syntax again. We could use style text equal to data text for style module, and it will return the style, the text style that we can use to inject into our shadow DOM. Yeah. So this code
And,
now will be.
Can you clarify line 4? What does line 4 do?
Line 4 basically. So line 4 is how you consume a style module, a CSS module. This is standard for CSS module.
So this is like how I can get from a human readable name to the like whatever the hashed class name is.
Precisely.
And then so like that's like for us to do in React, and that's like how we can think about things. And then line 1 is the actual CSS that needs to get injected into the page.
Precisely, yeah. Yeah, this line should be familiar with anyone using CSS, or I mean CSS module. This is literally how CSS module is used in most other places.
So like if we think about it, like lines 1 through like 14 here, except for line 4, are Plasmo specific lines, right?
Yeah.
And then line 4 is the exception, and then the rest is literally like React and like CSS modules, and like you can think of it like any other thing, right? You don't have to think about it like Plasma.
And this is the same. The data text style module is the same as any other content script UI if you ever used CSS UI before. Yeah, it's the same technique, same syntax. Yeah, because everything is uplifted by our internal config, by our internal like transformer. When we solve a problem, we just we just like alleviate it, right, with our custom transformer. So like if you look at the code for the transformer for the new inline CSS transformer, for example. Let's take a look at it. Yeah. So we basically use CSS. We basically have a custom CSS. We transform it, making sure that it's CSS module, and we just set a buffer into code. That's it. And then we also do a bunch of import and whatnot if needed, but otherwise, yeah.
Cool.
All right. Actually, yeah. Here's a demo of that example. Actually, let me reopen something. All right. So we have with CSS module. Let's enable it. So we go to plasmo.com. See the hello top. So this one is now red because it has the CSS module style, and this one also red because it has CSS module style. Okay. And you can see that we injected the CSS module inside as well. If you inspect the class name, yeah, it's duplicated though. Yeah, there are 2 of them. Something to think about. It could be a bug.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, maybe later. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, but it worked. I think the one thing that we have to worry about though is this: the WebSocket reconnection. I'm not sure we should. Okay, it is nice though, so that when we reopen the server, it reconnect, right? But then if you have a dev extension, it will constantly showing this. Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if we should show this error or we should just not show it at all, have everything be quiet and silent. Because this is not an error per se. This is more of a this is not an error. This is more of a
Well, I think maybe like an in-between thing is like, let's just not have it reconnect so often.
Yeah.
Like if it shows once, then I think it's like more bearable than it like trying to like mess up your console like literally every like 10 seconds or whatever it is. So maybe we can like remove the retry, or maybe make it like
show once and then don't show
or something.
Yeah, just show once and then don't even show it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. We should put it somewhere. All right. Disable that extension now. Let's moving on to our next set of feature. Add version when initializing with example. Oh yeah. So to find a bug on the when you're making a new example. When making a new example, this one. Yeah, so when you use PM creating with a Plasmo version, with like a brand new version or with any other version tag, it doesn't actually take a look at the version, the underlying version, and so it just use the I think the default, like the latest version, the latest tag. Yeah. So what we do is that we basically just in any future version, we simply just append it with the process app version, the specific version that has been bundled with that tag, with whatever you are requesting there. Yeah. So to note that it will not use Canary or latest, it will actually use the specific version behind the Canary tag.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Now next one, improve with env example. Yeah. So this one I think we show everyone the with env example. So I improved a little bit the with env example to added usage of it, a couple more usage of env file. Notably, you can actually use env inside a JSON file. So here I have a test JSON file with URL, Plasma public site URL, right? You make sure that if you use if you're using this code make sure that it has to be Plasma public. Make sure that the environment variable is a public one. We only parse public variable into the extension, just to avoid like any mistake, right? And so inside the pops up, right? Inside the pops up, you can then importing the test JSON with the raw env scheme. The raw env scheme basically would parse the text JSON and injecting environment variable into it. And then in your code, you can then fetch that file with the env file already integrated, and then you can then show the data. You can also use process.env to Plasma. You can use process.env dot my environment. The only exception is that there are several environment variable that is available. That is not like Plasma public, right? And those are system environment variable that you can access. So you can do env dot. There's a node env. There's a Plasma target. There's a Plasma browser, Plasma target, and Plasma manifest version. So those are like the Plasma specific kind of environment variable that we also expose to the client side from the Plasma framework for you to determine which browser you're building for. Is the extension bundle building for, and which manifest version you're using, basically. Those kind of stuff. Here's some handy one. Some handy kind of
like useful things just to have as you code, right?
Yeah.
Well, useful things in your toolbox.
Yeah. Alright then. There's another one. There's another cool way of using an environment variable. Another one is you can use it. Oh, what the hell is this? Why is Copilot here? I think I saved the file. The Copilot auto completion. That's funny. So you can also use env environment inside your package JSON as well. Here I'm having a homepage URL that points to our Plasma public site URL. So you can use here. You can also using it inside content script inside the matches. So the one thing is that for match, so the Plasma config is parsed at compile time. This piece of code is being parsed at compile time. So to use environment variable, you have to use the same syntax as if you're using it for the manifest JSON.
Like in the package JSON manifest key, right?
Yeah, precisely in the manifest key. Because this is written in compile time, so process.env doesn't matter. Process.env doesn't exist in that context. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's why, and also just demonstrating the use of Node.env here. That will basically remove the code block if it's not there. That's about it, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. I think we just don't save anything here. Moving on. Improve icon in example. Oh yeah, so we added a new feature. This is a new new feature here. So a lot of people have been asking for a way to differentiating dev version and production version and bundle version. So what we did here is simply we added we are already using Sharp to manipulating the icon already. So we simply
Yeah,
added.
so we use it to increase and decrease the resolution of the icon.
Yeah, we were using it to precisely we're using it mainly to resizing, right? Resizing the icon to different icon scale. But then we also the next version. The version we just released. We're also actually transforming the icon to grayscale. If you are not providing an icon.development. So if you have a default icon, right, like this one, for example, Plasma would grayscale it for you too. It will grayscale this icon, so you can differentiate your dev and your bundle version.
Right. So just to clarify, right? Like if I want it to be the same, what would I need to do?
Yeah. So if you want it to be exact color, so if, for example, if you have a custom icon.development, right, you simply provide, and let me just do it. But I'll do icon.development.png, right? And then I change the color a little bit to like, I don't know. Yeah. All right. That's, I think, noticeable enough. So you simply provide a specific environment icon.png, and Plasma will respect this icon and will just resizing instead of grayscaling it. So let's try it. Have my terminal over here. Do the Plasma 3D package and view. I don't know exactly. All right. We use Plasma Dev here. And do I have the extension here? Why does have? Wait. Is there a? Hey, did I mess up in the latest version? Oh Lord. Here we go. Okay.
Might be just that one.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Actually, okay, then let's do this. Let's do what it did before with PNG. Alright.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, here we go. So you can see it has like so there are two things we added. We add dev with the what is this called? The cadet, right?
I just call it a pipe operator.
The pipe. the carrot. Anyway, we have a separator, so dev with a separator, so that denoting that this is a development version, and we'll have the icon here. The icon should be respected, but if you don't have an icon of development, it should have the gray color like this.
Yeah, like gray color of the icon that you typically have that you provide.
Yeah, that you have. Yeah, precisely.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think this will definitely help a lot of people because people have been saying like, oh, you guys don't provide a way to kind of have icons for development and for production. So we kind of not only did we add that functionality, but we took it a step further and basically said like, you actually don't need to do anything because like Plasma will just like actually create the differentiation for you. Because we saw a lot of people have like one of the things like for development is green, and then their icon for prod is like the normal one, or like grayscale, whatever. And we thought grayscale would just be the easiest. So yeah, that's
maybe
awesome.
we can tune it a little bit differently. I don't know in the future, right? But
Yeah, if you guys have feature requests, like maybe put Nyan Cat on all the corners, like be my guest. Would love to add that. But yeah, as of right now, just Grayscale.
Sounds good. All right, let's move on to the patch version for point 2. We updated hyperlink for submission. Oh yeah, so there's actually the doc linking was pointing to the wrong one. Because previously we have a subsection for submission, but we move it to a separate section now. We move it to a subpath now. Yeah.
Cool.
And it basically talk about BBP, which is the package we were talking about earlier. All right. Moving on. Adding friends README by this person. His username
So-
is very hard.
Click on his profile. If you look at like the people, the like things he like contributes to.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was thinking of someone else.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks so much. Yeah, I think their name is Ahmed, right?
Yeah, it's Ahmed.
Yeah, Ahmed. Thanks so much, Ahmed, for the help with the French translation. Really appreciate that, and like, I think it's going to help a lot of French speakers. I know there's a couple of actually like big browser extensions because I was doing a little bit of research late in the evening, and I saw that there's a bunch of really big French browser extensions out there, and I think like it's a really growing thing in France and in just the French-speaking world. So yeah, that's really awesome, and really appreciate that.
Yep. Thank you. And then, so the next one is icon depth resolution. So I added 64 by 64 as well. Apparently for Retina, all the icons are double in size. So it will actually look for 64 by 64 instead of 32 by 32. Yeah, so I added 64 as well for the icon resolution. And then next one, we have the storage module. Yeah, so Martin actually created 2 PR suggesting 2 changes to the storage package. So there are now
Also,
2.
shout out to Martin. Martin has been a supporter since the very early days of Plasma. So shout out to Martin, and really excited to see Martin contribute to this community.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so the first PR was to adding an option so that you can actually add, like you can tell the storage module to treat all the key as secret. And secondly, the second one is to actually allow you to use a function, using a function inside the setter. Like basically you can use set example and providing a setter inside, the same way that you have with React setter for your use state function. Yeah, this example is, I think, is a working example, but right now the current API should be the exact same as React as a React setter. Basically, you can pass a function. You would pass a setter function with the previous value and return a new value. And you just put the setter inside your like setter callback here, or your setter kind of your setter invoker. Dispatcher is the word for it.
Nice.
And your value should be mutated in the next call, basically.
That's awesome.
So that's actually, I need to add this to the log. Did I add them to the log yet? I only add Martin. I haven't added the other 2, I think.
Yeah, let's add them. Let's add them to the log. If they're on Discord, let's set the creator creator tag.
Yep. It's contributor. Creator are people who use Plasma.
Oh yeah, creator. Yeah.
Yeah. Contributor are people who.
Although we should also add Martin as a creator because I think he's porting over his current wallet over to Plasma.
Yeah.
But
so
I guess
yeah. So now we have this. Yeah, we have a hole of gratitude at the bottom of our log. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should give some gratitude to the dogs in the background of Lewis's video.
Because yeah, I think there's a guy.
yeah.
There's a what is it? The trimmer. The what is it? The grass trimmer.
Yeah, like a lawn mowing.
Yeah, lawnmower. Yeah. There's no lawn though. There's no lawn here. But yeah,
Nice.
like when it's a stranger, they bark. So it's a good alarm, I
yeah.
guess.
If anyone has some like ways to remediate this issue for Lewis, send a PR.
Yeah. Need to hack these dogs, man. It's one way or another. Yeah. Let me do one second. Yeah, I will need to add this. All right, let's go to the last one. Use shadow host ID lookup. Yeah, so this is basically a new kind of an improvement to the inline API. So previously for the inline API, we were using a get root node function from a DOM element from a shadow DOM host. The problem is the performance of that is not particularly good. The performance is ON, and with N being the depth of your component mounting. So if you mount your shadow host very, very deep, right? And if the thing is, I actually don't know how Chrome implement this get DOM root, if they implement if the implementation is correct though, they should have cached it. They cache it only changes when it actually changed. So if they cache it, this lookup is 01, it's 01, so it should be fine. But if they don't cache it and they do like a recursive, like get parent to go back to the root node, right? If they do that recursively, that is ON, and with ON, right? Then like even ON with 100 element it should be fine. Yeah, if you nest your shadow DOM like 100 element deep, just to be pretty fast. Like not, I don't want to be pedantic, but like a loop, 100 loop, it shouldn't be a problem. Like if you're talking about 1 million, sure, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, so if you nest your element deep, like 1 million element deep, okay, that's interesting, right? But I don't know. That website is deep, that's for sure. That's a deep website.
So is it just on the subtree that your node operates in, or does it go through all trees, all like subtrees?
So this is a method coming from. So previously we were using get root node only.
Right.
I tried to find implementation detail on this. I couldn't find any actually. Maybe there. I mean, I guess you have to take a look at the source code. Yeah, go deep down to the source code of Firefox or Chrome and see what the hell they do with it, right? And see if they have any caching option. But based on like the cap option that they're telling me here, based on like, hey, the option is compose, meaning returning, are we returning a shadow DOM root or returning the root of the shadow DOM, right? And this is what it asks. Beyond shadow root, right? So if this is what they ask, I feel like this is probably ON, an ON kind of implementation. They have to loop through or look up. I mean, even with shadow DOM root, you can still cache it. If they cache it, it'll still be fine, Yeah. So anyway, could be ON, could be O1.
Right.
So this
so
element.
What did we add? What did we add that helps with this?
So previously Richard actually had a PR. Richard from
Agree to, right?
Agree.com, right? They have that? No.
No, I think it's agree to.app.
Yeah. So Richard from Arquito the app actually made a PR for us on the long time ago to add a get shadow host ID. So if you have so basically when you're mounting the shadow host onto the page, right? There are times when you actually want to assign ID to it, so you can easily query it or finding it on your page. So I basically added basically a slight feature.
Okay, so sorry to cut you off. As you were looking at this stuff, I looked at the Chromium Blink source code for get root node.
Yeah.
The way it works is like this. They have a tree root function, and all they do is while node parent node equals node parent node.
They do recursive
lookup. They're not caching or anything like that.
No caching or anything. Yeah, they do recursive lookup. Yeah.
Yeah, it's technically not recursive. Like it's not like they're doing like in a loop, like an iterative loop, but they are doing the like parent kind of.
Yeah, it's looking up parent, right? It's a very common implementation of this. Yeah, very common implementation of this. But I mean, like if your element is like nested behind like 10 layer, it's just calling that function 10 times, right? It's not that bad in a sense because it look up directly.
The thing that's a little bit interesting though is they have this concept of a containing tree. So they have a potential optimization that I haven't like looked into, where what they say is if is in tree scope, then return containing tree scope dot root node. So potentially they do some sort of like optimization, and then if that isn't true, if it's not like it doesn't return, and then it actually does the like lookup. So I wonder what this containing tree scope means, but
I think that is for Shadow DOM, right? Because that's the main option they have, compose. Right.
Yeah, so they say like if it has composed and composed, then shadow including root, otherwise tree root.
So I think basically they are trying to returning either the Shadow DOM, the Shadow DOM root, right, or the continuous the tree root.
So the if statement that I was looking at, that function only runs if it's not the Shadow DOM. So there's some weird like optimization going on, but I'm not sure what it is. And then they have like the actual Shadow like implementation, and that one is like similar, except it goes through like root owner shadow host, and then it goes through all the ancestors, and then basically returns the root pointer. Anyway.
Let's see. Yeah, because Shadow root actually does not. So when I try to do get parent on some of the shadow host element, right? So if you're trying to do get root node from an element inside your Shadow DOM, right? You actually get, if you don't specify compose, you actually would get the shadow root.
And that actually tracks with what I'm seeing here. So basically they only look at parent if you don't say compose, but if you say compose, they'll actually they'll take the node's owner shadow host, and then they will do the thing before. So they'll go up the parents. So they'll escape the Shadow DOM and then go up the parents if you don't have a compose flag.
Yeah, I was wishing for a caching mechanism, but apparently the browser is not that cool, huh?
Let's send some diff over to the Chromium team,
No, they're pretty hard-headed,
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is... So this actually isn't Chromium, it's Blink.
The Blink engine.
The Blink engine, which is like a fork of, XHTML or something like that. Or KHTML. So basically, I think it's like, there's Blink and then like WebKit. There were two forks. They went their own ways. Anyway.
All right, but anyway, the optimization is that if you specifying get element by ID, we will actually we will query we will use Uckwin.get element by ID based on the element ID. Yeah, basically all you have to do is specifying the this. Let's take a look at the example. I added that into the example too. So with content script, yes. I know with content script inline. Yeah. Yep. So if you specify get shadow host ID and returning an ID for the shadow host, right? This will optimize the lookup for your element. Yeah. It will use document.get element by ID.
Nice.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know, but based on what I have read or based on what I have learned so far, or a lot of people claim that query selector is as fast as get document by ID. What do you think about that?
Really?
Wow.
Um, that doesn't make sense to me. Well, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me because, like, isn't it the case that, I mean, okay, I'm just like making assumptions here, but I'm pretty sure that like query selector probably
It probably crawled the tree, yeah, definitely crawled the tree, right? But yeah, the assumption a lot of time, I'm pretty sure people there's an assumption that document get element by ID, right? Basically, if it's O1 if it's an O1 kind of lookup, right? They have to make a map of ID and element, right? And a DOM node, right?
uh-huh.
Right? That's how you would do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that the way they do
you
it?
would sacrifice storage for runtime speed.
Yeah. Is that how they do
So-
it?
Well, my whole thing about this is like you have to write a parser, right? So like just in terms of like I don't know if they are equal in terms of speed of like actual like going to the DOM nodes, like this one will be slower because it needs to be parsed first, right? Like query selector, you have to parse the actual like
Yeah, the
whatever.
query, yeah.
Whereas get element by ID is just a string.
Yeah. So in a
But
sense,
I
it's still
wonder
faster.
if there are like, but like the interesting thing to me is like I know that I'm sure that there are some things that you can like some queries that are much faster, right? Probably, like and some that are incredibly slow. I guess it depends on the query, right?
Yeah.
But get element by ID should be like super fast. I would imagine.
Yeah.
There's
Basically,
no way they parse the entire like DOM.
I know, right? That'd be dumb myself. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, we can check. Let me see.
sure. But anyway, the idea is that if you specify a get shadow host ID is a function and returning a string, then you're good to go. It should have it should optimize it to use a lookup, get element by ID basically. Yeah. Anyhow, I think that is pretty much for the release, for the current release. What we have so far.
Nice. Yeah. Sounds good. Any updates on other stuff that you think about?
Let's see. I think we plan to launch testbed, right?
Yeah. So let's hold off on like that for next week. But yeah, just a teaser. Like testbed is coming soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been better for a bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
We need to package it up and ship it.
Yeah, one of the things that we're trying to do with testbed is really make sure that like we get it right. So we've been onboarding people like very, very selectively and slowly. So if you were on our wait list, exciting news should be coming your way. But we'll keep you posted. Just a little sneak peek of what's ahead. So look out for in your inboxes.
Let's take a look at the release again, see if I miss anything. And that's pretty much it. Make sure I don't miss anyone here. Alright.
Cool. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for more Plasmo fun stuff. Take care.
Take care.